Good Thursday morning to you, and welcome to a special edition of Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant, and this morning we are having some coffee and some court outside of the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan in New York, where Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial is taking place. So we're going to kick off the show like we always do by having you grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. It is history in the making. One of the biggest stars in the world, Sean Diddy Combs, arrested, accused, and forced to get accustomed to life behind bars as he awaits the start of his trial. After 28 days of intense testimony, the final chapter begins today, the closing arguments. After they conclude, the jury goes on to deliberate. And my friends, there's a very real possibility that after 9 long months in jail, Sean Diddy Combs could walk out of this courthouse behind me and get his freedom back. There's also an equal chance that he stays behind bars, and it could be for a very long time. Now, if the government proves just only the sex trafficking charge pertaining to Cassie Ventura, well, there would be a mandatory minimum punishment imposed of 15 years in prison. This is anybody's case, and Diddy surely has the most at stake. But judging from his comments to the judge when he told him that he's doing great, I would say the music mogul is very confident about his case. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
And what kind of things was he saying to make you feel like he was upset? How was he acting?
It's going pretty insane. I'd say he was using vulgar language, cussing. Jack, look what the F they did to your car.
All right, so here are some of the other cases that we are tracking for you this morning. In Connecticut, we've got testimony continuing in the murder trial for defendant Raul Valley. That begins 10 a.m. Eastern time. In Florida, we've got the state's case continuing in the missing boyfriend murder trial for defendant Christopher Davis. Court gets underway 9 a.m. Eastern. And in New York, we've got closing arguments beginning at 10 a.m. in the case we were just talking about, the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. This is history in the making. A huge day here in New York City. People are lining up already. People have been here overnight at the courthouse getting ready for the all-important closing arguments.
The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways.
How are you all feeling right now? Anything you want to say?
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers.
He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight anymore.
So what can we expect today during the closing arguments? I can't wait to watch. Let's bring in our power panel and see what they think. We got our own dream team here on Opening Statements. Next to me here, I've got Mario Gallucci, and joining us remotely, I've got John Phillips and Michael J. Brown. Wonderful to have you all here.
Nice to
Mario,
Julie.
Great to be alongside you.
Yeah,
You practice at this courthouse all the time.
Yes, I am. I was here this week, and I'll be here again on Tuesday.
Yes, and so does Michael. I know that. And so you gentlemen are very familiar with this place, and all three of you are certainly familiar with high-profile trials. You're all high-profile criminal defense attorneys. And so let's talk a bit about what we expect to see in the closing. So let's start with the government, and then let's move on to the defense. So with the government, what do you expect to hear from them, Mario?
So they're going to try to put together the racketeering count. They're going to have to say that Diddy formed this criminal enterprise. The criminal enterprise was the freak-offs or the King Days, and that as a result of doing that, he sex trafficked, he drug trafficked, he bribed, he coerced, and he beat people. It was all part of this enterprise. And if they're able to put all of those predicate acts together, they're going to improve the enterprise, then he's going to have an issue. And that's what the government's going to try to do. Say this was an organized effort to pull us off.
Michael J. Brown, tell me, what do you think the defense may be doing today in the closing arguments? What they may be saying? What do you think is going to be top of mind for them in their arguments, please?
Good morning, Julie. Welcome to New York. The defense is going to highlight the problems with each witness's testimony. They're going to emphasize the allegation, a suggestion that these were willing participants. They were in it for the money. They were in it for the fame. They were in it to associate with a celebrity, and that it was a consensual type of situation from beginning to end. And that is what I assume the defense is going to focus on. And they're going to point out that the prosecution failed to establish a case beyond a reasonable doubt, that they did not deliver on all the things they promised. And I think they're going to highlight, again, the credibility issues from each of the prosecution witnesses.
Sure. John Phillips, let me ask you about the jury, the jurors. What do you think they're going to be watching for today?
You know, this is kind of what you wait for, right? You've had 30 plus witnesses. You're in the middle of a spectacle of a trial. You know you are, right? You know the parties and the sensation and the media as you come and go from the courthouse. And I think they finally get to sit back, you know, kind of munch on some popcorn and see both the prosecutor and the defense tie it together. And you know, you're going to hear things like Cassie texting, "I want to be your little freak," and you know, they're going to compare, you know, the jurors' lifestyle. Put that aside. This is a very different lifestyle here, and so they're going to have to take the jurors on each different side through fact patterns that wouldn't have ever applied to their life and try to get them to side with them.
Yes, John, I'm so glad you said that. That was something that Mario and I were talking about as we were here this morning chatting before the start of the show. And Mario, I would love for you to share kind of what you did with me as we were talking about what do you think is going to happen, and how you were saying you think when Mark Agnifilo gets up there, one of Diddy's lawyers, you know him in the community, you're part of the bar here, you said that he's going to make it very clear that jurors, this may not be your lifestyle, but it's not criminal.
Right. Well, what he's going to try to do is say, look, this isn't your lifestyle. Exactly what you just said. This is not something that is normal to all of you.
Right.
But this is normal to him. And this is what he enjoyed to do. And these people participated in that. And although you may not like it, and although this may not be your cup of tea, this is not criminal. This is something that is what I'm into doing, you're not into doing, but it's certainly not criminal activity.
Right. No, and that's such a, I think, you know, a smart way to go with this, because you earn some credibility, don't you, Mario? We saw you when you did the treadmill abuse murder trial, and I was complimenting Mario, saying how, you know, you conceded that this was a bad parenting, letting that child run on that treadmill. But you said it was far too attenuated to connect it to the murder charge. And so here, conceding, Michael J. Brown, if they concede Diddy's a violent guy, an abusive boyfriend, and has some proclivities that members of the jury may not have. What do you think? Do you think the defense has a good shot here, Michael? Your thoughts?
I don't, Julie. The defense has to concede those points. That video is so damning, and I think the prosecution played it perfectly. That was the beginning of their case. They played this video no matter what kind of lifestyle you have. That is unacceptable, and what it does is it kills the whole notion that, hey, he's famous and he's a good guy and he's a celebrity. By playing that video, it kills him. And what's going to happen is, if I'm the prosecutor, sometimes when you play a video, it numbs the jury. They can't play this video enough. I could see the prosecutor playing it 5, 6, 8 times after each point. It doesn't get old. It really, really is an effective piece of evidence for the prosecution.
Oh, that's good. I'm so glad you said that, Michael. Thank you for that. John Phillips, dovetailing off of that, let me ask you, please, for the government, it's on them. We all know they've got the burden. They must carry it. They brought this case. Diddy didn't ask to come here. They brought him here. Tell me, what do you think the government needs to do, John, when they get up there? How do they convince these jurors that there is an enterprise, that what happened was criminal and not just Diddy's sex life?
Like Michael said, you got to heavily feature that video, and you're going to have to explain to jurors who otherwise think of sex trafficking as something else. Like, we all hear about it and assume it's just this kind of underground commerce of selling women to men or putting them in the trade. And this is just different. It's coercion, it's bribery, it's all of those things. And so the first uphill battle is kind of convincing the jury that no, you got to look at this a little different related to sex trafficking, and then get into the racketeering conspiracy and the obstruction of justice and the bribery and the narcotics offenses. Like, all of the drugs here that were bought, sold, used in these parties is a big deal. And so they need their 4 hours to get through it all.
Right. You're right, John. This is a big deal. This case, I mean, it's huge. It's historic, what we're witnessing. Mario, love to ask you about the New York juries you typically see that get chosen in this courthouse. How do you think they may be receiving this?
So you have a very liberal county.
Yeah.
I mean, New York County is a very liberal county.
Sure.
So you got, and I believe it's 8 and 4. Mm-hmm. You have, they're going to listen. They're going to listen to what's going on. They're going to take it all. And if they follow the judge's jury charge, that's what you want them to do, follow the jury charge. It's going to be a very complicated jury charge. I think that they're going to bring it home. I really do.
Well, this is anybody's case.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. If there ever was a case where, I mean, you could flip a coin and who's going to win this, don't know. And boy, we know Diddy has the most at stake, certainly. Mario, John, Michael, thank you much. Stand by for more questions, please. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, here's what's coming up for you on Opening Statements.